Hey,
Hey,
how are you?
can you hear? Well, good. How are you doing?
All right, let me show you. This is Dr. Bennett.
Oh, well, hi. How are you doing?
Hi, John. How nice to meet you.
Well, hi. It's good to meet you too.
Great. Let's
Is
keep.
well,
Okay,
is the
I'm
sound okay
echoing.
today?
Yeah, it's okay. We need to get your face on there first.
Oh, okay. Is it not? You see.
Yeah,
I
don't.
was echoing.
Yeah, can we get your picture of Roxanne and
Yeah,
John? Your face,
well,
please.
I will, but we start at 7.
Well, wherever we start, but I need to get your face on.
No, because people are seeing this live.
Yeah, but I want to see your face first. So take off the presentation, and I have to introduce you. This is a
You're going to
video.
introduce me?
This is a video chat, Roxanne. It's not a presentation. It's people. It's people. It's not a PowerPoint. It's a people program. So I need to see your face, and I need to see John's face
I know, you
to
will.
start.
You
To
will
start.
now. No, you will now because it is now 7.
Okay. We don't have to start right at 7, but we have to show
Well,
your face, and there we go. Okay. There we go.
hello.
We are real people. We are breathing. We are moving. We make mistakes.
That was
Well,
not a mistake.
No. I'm just learning this program, John.
well, it's good. It's good. It's good. It's good to meet you.
Yeah. I do a lot of these. I did some with Roxanne. I'll explain that when we start.
Well,
So,
we are live. We are on
we're
YouTube.
okay.
That's why, yes.
Okay, here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good evening. This is John Bennett from both Neurosurgical TV and Seize the Day, a epilepsy support group run by Roxanne Davenport, a very active member of the epilepsy community. And we're going to try to get things going. And then Roxanne talked about John, and I was excited to be able to get in touch with him, to be able to talk to him, to be able to get some insights on his disease, and there's hopefully lots of other questions. And Roxanne will initially lead the discussion and the questions. Okay, Roxanne, please introduce yourself and take it away.
All right. Hey, I'm Roxanne, and I have Seizure the Day YouTube and also Normal Life with Epilepsy started a podcast. So there we go. And I will say this is John, who I have been keeping up with for a very long time, looking at all of his paintings, and we'll be able to look at those. But I'm gonna make the screen a little smaller, okay, John Bennett,
Okay.
Dr. Bennett. Okay, you'll still be able to be on backstage, but yes, we talked the last time, and we had our time for. It was weird how our time zones were so mixed up that I scheduled it wrong. So I'm sorry.
No, no worries. That's a normal sort of thing that happens a lot.
Yeah, I couldn't
But
like
it's
I
good. It's
couldn't
good to be here
believe it.
today. And and
Yes.
it turned out to be a good thing because I got to chat with you, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed getting to know you.
Me too. Well, I enjoyed getting to finally meet you because, like I said, I followed you, and I even wrote a little blog about you a long time ago when I first started writing. So,
Thank you.
yeah, well, want to tell everyone I do this because of epilepsy, and it said you've had it since you were two.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we noticed it when I was 2, so I was probably born with it, but didn't really notice it until I had like my first kind of bigger seizure, really. But
Okay.
yeah. So it's been a long while, and I'm about to have a birthday on Thursday. So, um, oh my goodness, I'll be 53. So I've known about it for 51 years. Well,
Oh,
actually I didn't know about it when I was 2, but it's been known about that long.
right. Me, that's the same thing with me. Yeah, I had it when I was born. They saw me have one, so but they didn't start up again till I was two. So mine just fluctuates. So it's just odd how epilepsy can change everything in our lives. But it has not given me, the ability still to paint. I can't do anything like that.
I wish that they gave me the ability to sing. I think that would be. I love art. And I love to paint, but for me, I think I've done it before I could walk. I've got a weird brain that just it makes sense. But I admire singers and musicians so much. It's just I it's incredible.
Okay. So is it true that you could be left handed? I haven't noticed with you holding the brush.
Oh, I'm mostly right-handed. I use my
Okay.
left hand a lot too. If things are more
Well,
on the left
yeah.
hand side of the canvas, I'll use that. And if it's I'm not
Okay.
exactly ambidextrous,
Not
but I don't know. I've always been used to using my left hand a lot, and so I
okay.
can't really sign. I mean, I can sign my name with my left hand, but I don't do it very often. So it doesn't look great.
Mine doesn't look great right-handed.
But I can paint with my left hand. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
Go figure.
And how I read this in one of the articles that they wrote about you, um, that said that the oil paint is better for you to paint
You
with,
know,
or
I
does it
started
matter?
with oil paint for like the first 8 years, but now I use all acrylics,
Oh,
and that's really what I teach people is because with acrylics, the great thing about oil paints, the reason that I use them was because I can't see the colors. So, and the oil paints felt a little bit different because they're each color is made of something like different things. So they feel a little different, and then different brands can feel even more different. But with acrylics, there's all these different mediums, all these different additives that you can add into the paint. So you can make it feel however you want. Like you can make it feel like thick like toothpaste and creamy, or you can make it slimy like oil, or runny like water, or gritty, or all a whole bunch of other things. So it gives you this ability to be able to change the texture of it and the viscosity of it. So for me, I help it. I use that to help me tell color. So I can make the white
okay.
paint feel different than the black paint. And so acrylics are
No.
fun and they dry so much quicker. Oh my goodness. If you're going to use your sense of touch to draw with, like I draw using lines that I can touch and feel, um, it would take like a month for a drawing to dry before I could really touch it.
Oh,
So it,
yeah. Okay.
but with,
Makes.
but with the, oh my goodness. And the acrylics that I use, I have some that'll dry almost instantly. So that just sped things up. You can imagine. It sped things up so much quicker.
Okay. Well, that's information, yeah. And well, and how I've always wondered if it was only that one type of paint that you were able to use. So
Mm.
that explains how beautiful and bright your paintings are.
Oh well, thank you very much, Roxanne. I appreciate that. I use all different kinds of paints. In 2017, I became the world's first blind muralist. So I started working with a whole different range of paints because I needed paints that would stand up to the weather. And the
Yeah.
texture sort of paints I used before, they're great for indoors. But I
Yeah.
live in Texas. I'm calling to you from Denton, Texas, right now, and it's currently about 90 something degrees. And this summer, it's going to get in the hundreds. So you can imagine what that does to paint. So I had to
Uh-huh.
start playing around and finding some really robust stuff that could put up with the ice that we have in the winters and the scorching heat we have in the summers and all the hailstorm and the tornadoes. And
Oh,
um,
yeah.
so it was a learning curve. I'll tell you that.
Well, like I said, talked about the last time I lived in Houston when I was
Yeah.
little. And we found, thank goodness, a cover for the car we were in because it was like softball size hail, or it would have
Mm.
ruined the car when we were in Houston.
Yeah.
And the weather was weird, so weird down there. And
We,
that
we,
was since 1979 since I've been there. So I think it's gotten
man,
worse.
I'm well. I'm laughing because we had softball size hail maybe 4 weeks ago. So nothing has changed since you lived here. But it's
Okay.
weird. It's weird. But people think we're crazy because we'll have tornadoes and we have all this stuff. But honestly, when you live down here, you get used to it. I know that sounds crazy, but it isn't that big a deal. It doesn't like when the systems are coming and you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna go inside now. So so we just keep an eye on the weather during those certain parts of the year. And I would imagine it's kind of like if you live up north and you know that snowstorms are going to come, that you make sure you have everything in place that you need, and you have stuff packed
Hmm.
in your car if you need it, and so when it hits, you're ready for it. It's not really that big a deal, but that's kind of the way we treat tornadoes. Crazy, I know. We're all nuts
Well,
down here.
we're all in the South, so there we go. You can me in North Carolina and Dr. Bennett, who was on in Florida, so he's gotten
Oh my
some
goodness,
weather
yes.
too.
Oh my
Yeah.
word, yes. Well, yeah, we can all commiserate with one another. I was in North Carolina just for a moment about 2 weeks ago, I guess. I bet
Yeah.
just for a tiny bit, and I was just passing through. But I thought, yeah, yeah, I know. I felt a connection with you a little bit as I was going through.
I don't remember what the weather was like then. It might have been hotter by a day. Man, it pours down rain sometimes here for like 10 minutes and then it'll stop and get real humid. You can see the steam go off the ground. But
That's
you
that's nice, isn't it?
gosh, but you definitely, you're doing more outdoor paintings along all these buildings now.
Yeah, that's I'll tell you, doing murals is work. I do a lot of mostly what I do are commissions, so they're on canvas and they're inside an air conditioned room somewhere.
Yeah.
But the wonderful thing though about doing these murals is that you're making a statement and it's where people actually live. So whenever you do like a commission painting on canvas, it goes into a business and maybe people in that business see it, or it goes in someone's home. So there's sort of a select group of people that see it. But like I just finished one for the city of Garland. They hired me to come in for their downtown main area to do a giant mural there. And the wonderful thing is that you're telling a story, and it's a lot of disability awareness. It's a lot of it's a lot of joy. It's a lot of optimism of bright colors. But you're able to make a statement where people are actually going to live their lives and be around and have fun and be with their families. And so I love doing these murals because you get to tell a bigger story, and I get to talk about epilepsy, and I get to talk about visual impairment, and do it in a way where It's not like what woe is us. Oh my gosh, it's so terrible to have it. But instead, looking at it like it doesn't have to control your life, and you can do things, and your life can be bright and full of color, and we're just like everyone else, and it's just
Yeah.
so so you can control the narrative a little bit.
Yeah. Or better, since how artistic and amazing everything that you paint is.
Oh well,
And
thank you for that. You're you're very kind. I appreciate that. My painting keeps me from going completely insane. So
well, I can understand that because I don't drive, so I'm stuck inside or outside. I have a neighborhood, so
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
My driver's back here. She prefers if I call her my wife, but she's my driver. She's
Well,
back here somewhere.
well, my chauffeur's laying on the couch in the other room. My daughter.
Nice. I offered to buy my wife like a little driver's cap and a little vest, but she wasn't having it. She didn't want to do it. But no, she didn't want to dress like a chauffeur. But
Well, and I also saw how many people have interviewed you, and one of them, Katie Couric, and how the Today Show. I mean, you in all the countries you have been because of your painting. And I told you the last time they mentioned you at the Louvre.
mm,
Uh, did you? I didn't think to look up that man's name, but he talked
oh
about you and thanked you for being able to paint like this. And now the Louvre has a special section for blind people to go through and touch the paintings and all the
wow,
artwork.
that's well that is really touching, and I mean it's such an honor. Um I mean I like I appreciate that so much. I've been really fortunate, and but I want to make real clear to everyone that whenever I started painting, I really thought I was out of my mind. I thought my life was over. I thought everything was just over, and because of the epilepsy and because of the vision
Yeah.
loss. But it was the people that were in my life that believed in me when I didn't believe in myself, and just the nature of art, art is all about what you can do, and what you can't do doesn't even matter. Like you want to make a line, you want to make a certain thing, you figure out a way to do it, and so it's all about this building and creativity. And if it wasn't for the people in my life, and if it wasn't for this wonderful accident that I'm obsessed with art, everything would have been completely different. And I don't know, I just want to make sure that, especially all my friends that have epilepsy, everyone that that's struggling with something or has a challenge like that, to know that I mean, now 20 something years later, it looks like I had it all figured out. You're like, oh gosh, but oh my goodness, I still every day I wake up and you're like, oh, what am I gonna do now? Are we gonna do this? Are we gonna handle that? And back then it was other people that stepped in and gave me help, gave me support and encouragement whenever I really needed it. And that's just it's just I can't say that enough. But and people told me then, they said you can be whatever you want to be and you can do whatever you want to do. And I thought they were so nice to lie to me, just because I thought they were just trying to make me feel better. But I just want to encourage everybody in your audience, you can be whatever you want to be, and you can do what you want to do, and that's
Yeah.
just not hollow statements. You can work towards it. And it's going to be a lot of failure, it's going to be a lot of falling down, it's going to be a lot more failure than success. But oh my goodness, even the failures are sweeter when you're moving towards something that where a place where you want to be.
That's true. That definitely, yes. Um, uh, John has a few questions. If I'm gonna get him to come back in,
Oh
and
please.
then I want you. I'm gonna show some of your paintings and tell you what they are, and
Oh
you can
cool.
describe them because I have them on a little. I have them in number of how I want to present them, and so
Well,
we'll let. Here's
Roxanne,
John.
I thought you were punishing me, putting me outside the room and making me wait.
You
Because
gotta
I
stand out
thought,
in the hall.
yeah, I was frustrated.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. I wanted to ask some questions, but yeah, you certainly can ask more questions after. Yeah, I wanted to ask a couple of things, John. Maybe change a little pace to make it more of a medical thing to start with.
Yes,
Can
sir.
you? Okay, 2 years. That's when your seizures came on, Was it a febrile seizure, or what kind of seizure was it? Did they tell you?
You know, and I'm the horror. I'm the. This is going to sound terrible. I'm the worst person to interview for this. I'll try to answer. I was so young when it all started,
Okay.
and my parents dealt with a lot of that, and I it made me sick so much that I almost had a mental block with it. Like I didn't want to have to deal with it. You know that it made me feel bad so much that I would just try to avoid it and not think about it a lot. I know that whenever I started having the bigger seizures later, they were cascading. It was a cascading temporal lobe seizure. And honestly, a lot of what I was told back then too, I was having so many seizures that I don't really remember that well. My memory is that well of it. My mom would be an amazing person to interview for this because bless her heart, she actually dealt with the nitty gritty of it all.
Okay. When you had that one seizure. Was it isolated, or did you have a bunch of them when you were 2 years old?
Um, from
You
what I
might, well,
remember,
you probably don't remember, but I mean,
I don't
did
I
you?
well I was told I had one big one and then I think I had some more, but
Okay.
they were a lot smaller. And then I started having some bigger ones. I also had kidney problems. I had the kidney removed by the time I was 7, and I think around that I started having a lot more seizures. And
Okay.
and then as I got older, it seems like the seizures actually went away for quite a bit. Where I might have little ones, and I would have migraines a lot. And then as I was getting older, like around 11 or 12, they started coming back, and then they started getting worse.
Okay. Were you taking medication right from the start?
I wasn't at the very first. I think when I had the first one, they were waiting to see if it was a fluke or what was going on. I think,
Yeah.
but I know I wasn't on medication then. But later, I was on everything. They just started, trying to get under control because it seems like something would work for a while, and then they, it would
Hmm.
stop working, or I'd have some breakthrough seizures, and then they would adjust it. And then to make matters worse, this was 20 some odd years ago, like 25, 20 more. And I'm down south, and I ended up getting Lyme's disease. And the Lyme's disease went undiagnosed for years because my neurologist and nobody looked for Lyme disease down here. It wasn't even a thought until he went. My One of my neurologists, Dr. Cook, went to a conference up north, and he heard about this disease, and he said, "This sounds pretty familiar." and he came back and he ran the titers and stuff, and it was like, sure enough, I had Lyme disease. But my family and I, we went camping almost every weekend, so getting bitten by ticks was not uncommon.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you took medication. Are you taking it now?
I'm not right now.
Okay.
And right now I'm not having like massive seizures. Every once in a while I have some small ones,
Okay.
and I've been really fortunate to
And you
where
know
in
they're
the small ones,
they're coming on, right? You can feel it.
yeah, I'll start noticing more of changes. And one thing that's really helped me, I think, is the painting because it helps you focus it to be in the moment. So I start noticing smaller changes, and whenever that happens, I can start to adjust things a little bit. And I'm fortunate where I can work from home if I need to. So I noticed that if I start having a little bit of even the first signs of trouble, I try to switch to getting a lot more rest. Making sure that
Hmm.
I just really take care of everything. Everything is as good as I could possibly make it with, and that seems to help. It isn't like it isn't foolproof or anything, um, but I'll tell you, I was the worst patient. You would have hated me whenever I was a teenager because I just felt like epilepsy was this. It was like this monster that was stealing my time. It was stealing my life, and it would just pounce on me, and I didn't know when it was going to
Hmm.
do it. So whenever I was feeling good, I wouldn't rest much. I would work really hard. I would study really hard. I would hang out with friends, and I would try to cram everything into that little bit of time. And of course, and I would sleep very little, and of course, I just made everything worse. So whenever I would have the breakthrough seizures, it would be much worse, and it was harder for the doctors to control, and just made everything worse. So, and then with the Lyme disease thrown in there, and that made other things wrong. It was a big mess.
But you went through school okay, and you worked okay, and your life
I,
was
I
relatively normal.
it will. I was in the hospital a lot, like dealing with the Lyme. Once they found it, trying to treat that was a bit of a problem. I was having a lot of because by the time they had found it, I'd had it for years, and Um, whenever, so I was seemed like I was in and out of the hospital a lot with different things, just this and that, and then I was a huge nerd though, so I was really into computers. So, whenever I graduated high school, I tried college, but I was still having a massive number of seizures, and I wasn't a very good advocate for myself. So I didn't go to the college. I didn't tell them I had epilepsy. I didn't
Right.
go to the Office of Disability. So I would make really good grades. I'd make straight A's, and then I'd have seizures, and I would be out of school for a week or 2 weeks because it was just crazy seizures. Then I would come back, and I wouldn't tell anybody what had happened. Just the worst student you can imagine. And then, so I started thinking, well, college just isn't for me. So I left college and just worked in the computer field for a little while. And so finally, I thought, if I don't go back to college, I never will. So I did, and the first stop that I made was the Office of Disability. And I went in there and I told them I had epilepsy, and they were like, "Oh, a lot of us have epilepsy. Welcome, come on in." And it was the most welcoming. It was the best thing that could have happened.
Yeah.
The impression I get from just I haven't looked a lot at epilepsy. I was an ER doc, so I did have episodes of seeing patients that were having seizures, even though they were taking Dilantin. Remember those days? People didn't know that some
Hmm.
people can take Dilantin and it doesn't work. Genetically, they can determine if someone's going to be affected by Dilantin by the genetic profile. You probably heard
Wow.
that, Roxanne. You heard that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
A,
And
a
any,
lot. Yeah, it's become genetic now.
yeah,
Checking.
I'm looking forward to getting involved with a field like epilepsy, which can be very effectively treated by education. And this platform we're using now is a tremendous way for epileptics to get together like you guys are now and tell stories about, because everybody seems to have their own different history.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just all the same. And it's also good for patients to interact with other patients just to be there. Let me show you why education is so important. I'm going to share the screen now. Let me see if I can get it. This, okay, hold on. I'm a little out of practice here.
There you go. There you go. What you want?
Okay, can you see this? I'm not used.
Me? Yeah.
Okay, you can see it. Okay, no, that's the wrong one. Let me.
Epilepsy, a TV.
Yeah. Let me.
He's gonna work with the
Okay,
Hispanics
here
now too.
Yeah,
So which is
yeah.
good.
Essentially, and I'm sure John will understand that. Okay, now, now look at this, John. I'm gonna have a
It
channel I'm gonna. Can you see it? Okay, can you see that?
pull it back up, and I have to
Okay,
push
let me see. Make sure.
show.
I'm not used to using this platform.
But
Okay,
it's
okay.
interesting how
Can you
mine and
can you see this, Roxanne? Can you see this, Roxanne?
yeah, I saw it
Okay.
before.
Okay, epilepsy. Okay, I'm starting a channel, John, for Spanish speaking epileptics, Epilepsy TV, because
Jeez.
I saw this article. It says that more than 50% of people in Latin America don't even receive treatment. And that is really, really bad. We really have to improve. Uh, but in a way, it's good news because I think we'll be able to do a lot as far as education because people ignore the Latin people. Typically, they just do English, but we want to get it for epileptics that speak Spanish and have it at webinars like this and organize it like this. And we're going to not be part of any other epileptic group. We want to give people the option to watch our webcasts. Like, for example, this webcast I would publicize to all the epileptic groups that, hey, we have a webcast with John, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, so that they can add to their groups. because there's a lot of local groups. You probably belong to some already. And Roxanne's thinking about powering her group up. And I just ran across a website of epileptics for Spanish people, Roxanne. I'll show you.
Good,
So
good.
yeah, it's good to see that. So the good news is education. What we gotta do, or I gotta do, is get that channel going and try to get people to go to clinics, go to doctors, because there are lots of programs that I don't know if you have a money problem, but a lot of programs that give free medication in countries like Mexico. They'll if they know you're an epileptic and you go to a clinic, they'll give you free medication,
Wow.
which that keeps a lot of patients from getting medicine, and they just have to live with it. But
Yeah.
we have to show them. Roxanne and I have to show them that hey, there's places to go where you can hook up. I'm sure there's a protocol, Roxanne, right? That you
And
either
people to
take,
talk to.
yeah, people to talk to. But as far as a newcomer, you would direct them to certain sources of information, correct?
Oh yeah. I'm getting another website too. It's Epilepsy Facts. So
Oh, okay.
hopefully,
Yeah, go
yeah.
ahead. You can share that.
Well, I don't have it completely where it's readable yet, but
Yeah.
did y'all know that Texas is one of the states out of, I mean, probably only 12 that have uh, teachers where they have to learn seizure first aid now.
Okay.
So
Really?
yeah,
Well,
it got approved in Texas, and it's taken North Carolina forever to pass.
well, we can speed it along. We can speed it along and get epileptics educated, plug them into programs, plug them into
Yeah,
free medication, can have continued discussion. Apart from the group typically has a meeting like what, once a week, once a month, or whatever. But we can have a channel for medical, have doctors speak about epilepsy because it's getting to be a popular topic in medicine because of implants. As you know, they're getting more invasive with the brain, and they're working in areas that cause epilepsy. So there's going to be new developments.
finally.
Yeah, there's going to be new developments now with the way AI is going. It's going crazy. It's really helping us explore information and data. So,
But
uh,
I was going to mention or ask you, John, does your seizure dog help you too when you have that feeling or give you any warning?
Aura,
Well, yeah, before you're, or, that way you start getting that feeling bad to slow down. Don't you have a
Me,
seizure
me,
first aid dog?
me,
Yeah.
me, John? Oh no,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
have a seeing, I have a seeing eye dog.
Oh, that's your seeing eye dog. Oh, well,
Yeah,
duh. You
yeah.
have. Okay, that.
But no, but it's funny. But my old seeing eye dog, I have a new one now, and it's like I've only had him for about 4 months. He's like almost 2.5 now. They're born at the guide dog school and they're trained there for 2 years.
Uh-huh.
So I've only had him for about 4 months. But my old guide dog, she wouldn't do an alert, but she definitely, if I had a problem, she would come over and be there and wouldn't leave, and so that was nice.
Yeah.
But she never did an alert though, and but which is okay, especially with the way that the epilepsy is for me now. That isn't so much. I don't have to worry too much about the big seizures. I might have one a year, maybe, and so I don't know, but having the dog that's there and you wake up, you reorient quicker, or if you're just a little fuzzy, a little, everything's a little
Yeah.
wishy washy, just having
Yeah.
having something there kind
Can
of
the dog,
really help.
can the dog feel that you have a seizure coming on? Can he feel it?
No, no.
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 Yeah.
Well, it doesn't seem to be able to yet, but especially my new guide dog, um, as a guide dog, he's amazing, but as a seizure dog, he's
Oh,
never really had any kind of
have you
training.
had have you had friends? Have you guys known about other people that have had dogs that can tell when someone's having a seizure?
Mine.
Yeah, yeah, and I've had a dog way in the past, like maybe 20 years ago, that that will give me a bit of an alert. And they weren't really trained for it. They just sort of picked up on it,
Yeah.
It's like
and that was
tsunami,
amazing.
like the tsunami. Animals pick
Yeah.
up on the tsunamis before it even hit.
What kind of
Hmm.
dog was yours? What is it?
It was a long haired Chihuahua,
Oh,
but she
really?
It
yeah,
wasn't
but she
a
was
guard dog.
no. It's and it's funny as the Chihuahua went, she was really laid back. Like if somebody knocked on the door, she would bark one time. She wasn't like one of those yippy dogs that
Oh.
yip yip yip. She would bark once and like, well, if you heard me, you heard me. There's somebody at the door.
I did
Like
my
bark
job.
and
I did my
yeah,
job.
she was just really laid back. But she would let you know. Like she would come over and jump on your lap and just stare at you.
Kind of
Okay.
changing line of questioning, but as far as creativity, do you feel that it affects your creativity at all? Your mental status, your feeling of creativity?
You
How
know,
you, go ahead.
yes, sir. Yeah, that's an excellent question. It does. I have a lot of temporal lobe and frontal lobe seizures, and I've noticed that whenever I have a lot of them, afterwards I'll have a very creative um, time. Like I just come up with lots and lots of ideas for paintings, and I don't like having the seizures, but over the years I've noticed that afterwards that's when I get a lot of inspiration sometimes too. So I still don't enjoy having the problem, I guess there's a silver lining to everything. And but also though I've done some paintings where it's after the seizure, like I was post-ictal, and I think I'm thinking normally. Like I think everything is normal, and I'll try to do a realistic painting, but the painting that I draw that I paint, it's all crazy looking.
Good.
But in my mind, it looks exactly the way it should look. And then later I go back and feel it and I think, oh my gosh, like it's just this crazy morph thing. And it's just, which is weird. I don't understand. I don't know exactly what's going on, but I always found it interesting.
So you can
Well,
pretty well judge your mood just by looking at your painting of
I guess
felt,
so.
how you felt that day.
That's true.
well,
That's true.
you said you could still see color, right?
I, I, well, I do in my mind. I have more color in my mind, I think, now than when I was sighted. And I still have light perception. It doesn't really make color or shadow, but my brain knows there's color. It gives my light gives me headaches. So I
Oh,
usually wear sunglasses. I usually have things kind of dark in my house, um, and but yeah, but emotions are color. Whenever I hear music, I see color. So
oh,
I
wow,
it's a lot of color.
wow, yeah. My my daughter can see color with some music notes, not everything, but yeah, that makes me jealous.
Well,
Another reason she can, and then you can do that too.
oh,
But
it's here. I'm gonna. Well, you have something. But I was gonna say I'll show you a music painting, but if I move the camera, I may not be able to get it back. I don't know. But I have a
oh,
painting. I'm in my art bar in my gallery right now. So there's people walking around. It's because I'm at the gallery, and
that's okay.
there's a painting over here that's a music painting. And but whenever I hear music, I see color, and that's what I usually. Most of my paintings are music paintings.
Well, I love, yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up on the. Do we have time? It's 7:30, but I'm gonna pull just you up and the painting, and that way, well, and this one you have showing just I guess one of the early ones. You look really young.
I've aged, I've aged a lot. I've only been painting 2 years. Look what it's done to me.
Maybe it's the beard.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, no, I've been painting for 25 years. Gosh, 20. Gosh, I don't even know. I don't even want to do the math.
John would come back. But and then another one. Well, the like you said, the music one, the one with the cello, that how the color around the person playing, they're sitting down, you know, and the cello is that's what the cello, right? And I don't.
Um,
It's do what? It's amazing. Another music one, and then you explained all the color, like it would look. I don't like maybe you would just have one. Um, I don't
oh,
know.
you
You
know,
see all the how
yeah,
the paint splattered on it.
it's, oh my goodness, yeah. So with music, I use it to be able to express feelings, and I use it a lot for commission paintings too because it gives a nice way to be able to communicate. You know, all art is communication, sharing ideas, and painting you're using line and form and shape to be able to do that. In music, it's sound, but you can, and it's incredible that you can transmit emotion through sound. You know,
Uh huh.
you can transmit emotion through color. You know, you can make people cry when they look at a painting, or feel happy when they hear a song, and it's just the human brain is just incredible how it can do that. And so a lot of times I use music in conjunction with my art. So if a woman wants a, let's say if a wife, she wants a commission of her husband when they first met, and you know how they both felt, then it's hard to put in words sometimes. You know, how do you encapsulate those feelings? But it's easier to say, oh, I heard this song and it makes me feel the exact same way. So she can say, oh, you know, I love this artist, I love this song, use this. So I'll listen to the music and I'll see the color, and then I'll use that color for the painting. So it gives a way to be able, it gives us another vocabulary to be able to work on the artwork.
Well, I have a picture up here now where you're using both hands
Oh,
on painting an eye with all the different color inside the eyeball.
yeah, I'm
And
obsessed with eyes. Eyes and eyesight, I guess. Yeah, I use
well,
both hands to paint. I teach art workshops, and I've taught tens of thousands of people. I've taught most people are sighted. I teach them in art museums and schools, and but um, but the main thing, if you're a sighted artist, there's very few differences between a sighted artist and a non-visual artist. One of them is if you're sighted, if you draw and paint, you're probably used to using one hand to draw with. If you're non-visual, you use both your hands. You use your hands to be able to do the work that your eyes would do, whether you're getting around a room or whether you're navigating around a canvas. So you can use one hand to feel the lines that you put down. So I'll draw lines that you can touch and feel. So it's the same way. So you feel a raised line or a line that's tactically different. And it's the same way. I'm feeling it. I'm sitting at a table. I can feel the edges of the table. I know exactly where the edge is. Same way on a canvas, I can draw a line. I can feel where the line is. Um, so I mean, it's just so, and then you can use your other hand to actually put the paint down. So you use both hands whenever you're creating art. Um, but one thing that a visual painting artist will use too, of course, they use their eyes to be able to know where they've been and where they are. But if you're non-visual, you use your sense of touch for that. I can feel all around where I've been. I make a mental map. We have all these amazing techniques to be able to spatially orient yourself. So I'm just using those when I paint, and it sounds hard, but I've taught lots and lots and lots of visually impaired people how to paint, and I blindfolded tons of sighted people, and in 5 minutes they're like drawing cartoons. It's not
oh,
as hard as
really?
it seems. Oh my goodness, yes.
Oh, I couldn't imagine
Pardon me,
what
pardon me.
mine would
Sorry, I've got
be.
allergies. I'm in Texas. The allergies are going crazy. I apologize if I cough.
Oh no,
I'm
that's fine.
I'm sipping a Coke to try to get the allergens away.
I
I'm still
understand.
coughing.
But
Pardon me,
now
pardon me.
I'm showing Jeff Bridges.
Mm,
I
he
can't
was super
believe.
nice.
Yeah, and the painting, he's holding the painting, and then you're with him in the picture. That someone you got to meet, an actor, and want to, get to paint him.
Yeah, I've been really fortunate. I've painted for movies and for lots and lots of musicians, and I do because I do music paintings. I painted for lots of good musicians that are known, but for Mr. Bridges, there's a little documentaries made about my art that was shown, and he was like, "Oh, I want to meet that guy," um,
Okay.
and and I was like, "Oh yeah, heck yeah, let's do that." But he's a musician now, so I started and that's I think the main reason he wanted to meet me. So I started doing artwork for some of his music for his CDs and stuff. But I mean, he's an amazing actor, but he's an incredible musician too, which I'm really jealous
Oh.
because I can draw, but I can't. It's the only thing I can do. I can't sing, I can't dance, I can't act. But
But I'm into really noticing the paintings you do with the glasses and having something separate inside the glasses. And I love the Ray Charles painting
oh, thank you very much. I
because,
always wear glasses. I have a thing. Either I paint eyes or I always obscure the eyes. I don't know. It's a mental block in my head, I think. And
but
I love that you can put a reflection in the glasses, sort of show an interior monologue of what's going on. And
uh,
so
well,
that's
I
fun.
play the piano, and that's why you're showing the
Hmm.
piano keys in his hands, and that's I guess that's why that one's my favorite. But how you were able to do that is amazing too, and
Oh, thank you. That was almost every painting I do. Like I paint so that it helps me stay sane. I mean, I paint every day, and I paint the same reason I paint now is the same reason I painted when it started.
Oh,
It makes my days go better. Pardon me. And I usually try different things every time I paint. So there's usually having a reflection shown in the glasses was definitely something that I wanted to work on.
that's I
well,
love those.
John, I have a question. Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I sure
Okay,
can.
John, maybe I missed this, but yeah, and yeah, I heard you mention tactile. When you have a big mural painting like that, those different colors, you can tell by the feel of the color from feeling it with your fingers. You feel a difference of the color, or no?
No, well, it would only one color I can, and that's the black. And so whenever I do a mural, I always do it on canvas first. So I have to plan it out. So we'll have a photographer take a photo of the building, and then on canvas, they'll draw out using a tactile paint what the building looks like where all the windows and everything are, the pipes, the doors, and then I'll paint on that canvas using all the architecture I can to be able to help orient. But it depends on what the surface is. So like if it's a brick surface, there's a black paint that Bear Brick makes it feels different um, than other paint. Like it feels rough and kind of tacky. So I'll prime the wall so it's very very smooth, and then I can draw with this black paint. And the black paint just feels very different than the white paint. So with a mural like that, I have to make sure that the composition that I come up with is a very heavy illustrative one. That way when I go there and I make the drawing, I can orient to the wall and I just break it down. So it may be like a four-story mural. I painted a 737 for Delta. It doesn't matter how big something is. You break it down in something very small that's like bite size
Right.
that you understand the proportions, and then I can draw in that little area with that tactile paint, and then I just start working from there. But it's very it seems hard, it seems big whenever you look at the whole thing, but you're only working on a tiny little part at any one time. And then with the color, because I can't use the tactile sort of way of keeping my color. In my studio, I braille all my paints, so all my paints are brailled out, so I know what they are. But then I can make them feel different.
I'm sorry, they're what out? They're browned out?
Braille.
Oh, braille, using braille.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
so I'll make a braille label for each of my paints. But then in my studio, I can make each color feel different. But on a mural, or if I'm working with resin or if I'm working with watercolor, I have to use a different system. And this is boring, but I just use a recipe. So a recipe system. So, so many parts of this color mixed with so many parts of this other color. Always make the secondary color that you want. And it's boring, but it's very exact and it works. So I can draw with the black paint that I need, and then I make sure that when I do the composition, I'm only including colors that I know I can mix using this recipe system. Um, it's about it's what art's all about though. It's all about what you can do. So you figure out ways to do it, and then the more you do it, you figure out other tricks, other ways to be able to get more of what you want.
We're stronger than we think.
Huh?
Are you saying that we're stronger than we think?
Yes. Oh my goodness. And and one of the biggest things that helped me when I was starting was that I had to be okay with things going wrong, with failure, and because especially like when it came with my epilepsy, with the blindness, with everything, it was so hard to be able to do things and have things come out right. And I would be so upset whenever I would make plans to go do something and I would have a seizure and I couldn't. And I would internalize that. It would make me feel very bad. I would get very angry and depressed. I mean, feeling bad about something you can't go do, of course, that's going to make you feel bad, but it would just ramp up out of control. And one of the wonderful things about art is that it's making mistakes. Like you're constantly making mistakes, but every time you do, it's pushing you towards your goal. Like every time you do something wrong, you're learning how to do it a little bit better, a little bit better. So every failure is actually leading towards a success. And that started building a mentality in me so that whenever in my artwork and my painting, like learning how to work with the recipe system to do a mural, it took a long time for me to be able to do that. The way that I draw now took about 5 years for me to be able to figure out, and it's way better than the system I had before that. But I'm working on a new one, and that's probably going to take years. But it's just all this failure. But it doesn't matter because every time I make a mistake, I get a little closer to where I want to be. And I started applying that to life so that sometimes, like whenever I'm not able to do something that I want to do, like I have a friend that had a competition yesterday, and I really wanted to be there, but I wasn't doing well last night, so I couldn't go. And that's rare for me now that I couldn't. But so I didn't beat myself up about it. It was like, oh, take care of yourself, and then it'll be better. I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling, but
No, you're not.
I know
No.
One of the things,
You-
John, that I've thought about constantly is that it takes a person courage or leap of faith sometimes to do something like a career or like an avocation like you. You got to it's like you got to have courage and say, I'm going to just do it. I didn't experience the same things that you did, but it came to a point where I said, I want to be a doctor. And just like I had no guarantee. I had no one in my family, but I just made the commitment mentally to do it. Just like I'm sure you did. You made a commitment, said, "Hey, I'm going to do it no matter what," and you had the courage to go forth and try it and fail. Sure, like I failed a lot,
Mhm.
a lot.
That's
Tell
one of
about
those things. Well, that's wonderful that you were able to do that, and it's interesting whenever you find someone that's had a big success, like for you, Dr. Bennett, like becoming a doctor isn't easy. I mean, everyone knows that it's not
Oh,
something
but
you
the
can just
same point, same
accidentally
point.
happens to you.
Yeah, same,
You
but
know,
the same type of decision that probably you made of like, I'm going for it. The heck with it. I like this. I'm going to do it even if I screw up. That's the way I felt. It's like, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to
Did you
fix
say
it
if you
anyway.
throw up? Did
No,
you
no,
say?
no, I don't vomit too often on the, no,
Oh, I thought you said if you throw up.
no. If I screw up, I screw up.
Oh,
But
okay.
doing these videos, I had no background in videos. I had nothing to do with broadcasting, but I loved it. I said, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to make mistakes and just do it. Just do it.
Yeah,
that's
But
wonderful.
yeah, but just like you're doing, and just like Roxanne's doing. But I
I need to
really
make
feel
this.
confident that this is the one disease that we really can have an effect. I mean, I'm talking about someone outside of epilepsy, someone that's in education that can set up programs, etc. But
Mhm.
like support groups. Do you go to support groups at all, or just once in a while, or just when you're interviewed?
No, I really don't. But I but I do a lot of talking. So it's funny. I do a lot of keynotes. I do a lot of speeches. So usually
Really?
I'm traveling about two or three times a month. So I'm meeting with different
Oh,
groups, and it's not all epilepsy, but it's a lot of But anytime that I go to talk to a museum or somewhere, I do workshops as well with other groups. So I'm not a member of a group, but I talk to so many different groups so
So
much.
many groups. They're part of a
And
role.
and and with my gallery here, we have so many events here. So we have people, and I'm
Very good.
fortunate that I'm in a college town where we have where the therapists and stuff in the universities come here and they'll meet here. And so I don't know. I feel like I'm a big part of the community, but I'm not formally a member of a group.
Oh, okay. What painting is that? Where's that at?
Well, this is where it's during the daytime, and it's showing a whole one side of the building, and then I have a picture of you up on a ladder, all the way at the
Okay.
very top of a ladder,
That's
and
brave. That's brave. Yeah.
that is, I mean, all the way up there, and you're holding the can of paint, and it's
Uh,
the wall of the music, the
hmm.
where you see like I'm gonna get it a better pic. Let's see if it's any closer. You're standing beside it in the dark. They have a picture of you, but while somebody's holding a guitar and there's a saxophone and somebody's singing. I think it's
Okay.
in Galberton Gal
Oh, it's the Garland one. Yeah, I've done
Garland.
I've done a number of music murals, and um, I wasn't sure. There's one that's about 50 feet tall, but we need a list for that. It's Garland. Yeah, because we had to use ladders for the Garland one. I
Okay,
should have done it
yeah.
used a lift, but I was, yeah, my my knees
You
still
were.
still still hurt from that one.
Oh man. I just saw that picture of you on that ladder, and I put it up here on the screen. But, and then I read where you said that you paint better. Well, you said you didn't like light, but you do it better in the dark. But you have to do some painting in the light so people can see you do it.
Yeah, and sometimes with the murals, I have other artists that'll work with me. Like I'll have out an area, but then we'll need areas where it's like all red or all blue, and so we'll have artists come in and fill that in, and they and they need the light. So either we rig up lights for them, um or we do it during the daytime. But
Yeah. And here's the airplane.
oh, yeah,
Wow.
I so I did that was for the Rock in Rio concert, and Delta wanted to do they wanted to support it. It's the biggest concert on earth. They have 1 million people that attend the
Wow.
concert, and then after that, the State Department made me a cultural ambassador to Brazil. So we
Wow.
went
That's
there
great.
to talk about art, and that was a brilliant thing. And Dr. Bennett, it made me think because you were talking about how education makes such a difference in Latin America, and that was a big thing that I noticed, and that was the reason I went down there for that was we're working with people with disabilities, and there isn't a whole lot of money in Brazil. There isn't a whole lot of money in a lot of the countries down there, but just knowledge, just knowing a few little things can make a huge difference. Like even with blindness, taking a vitamin every day can make it where a huge number of people won't ever lose their eyesight. There's so many things that
Oh.
people can do to help with epilepsy. There's so much that people can do with
Mm-hmm.
visual impairment that doesn't really cost any money. It's just the knowledge of it, just people knowing what to do. And it's
Well,
just I don't know. Whenever you mentioned that earlier, I was struck by it.
you know, you have the best library in the world in your hand, a smartphone. It's the best university in the world. You have access to so many educational platforms. Uh, you know, at any university, I mean, it's a tremendous piece of machinery for Latin America. It's made for Latin America. I've watched Latin America grow as far as bandwidth, getting stronger and stronger and stronger. It used to be terrible, but now most people, even homeless people, have smartphones. So they can become educated about epilepsy, or they can use their buddy's smartphone. Education is free. It's free now to people if they look for it. But we've got to kind of help give them, and Roxanne and I have to help give them, kind of point the way, point the way. But I was going to ask you something about the creative process. Um, Yeah, you're one of. I read in one of the readings I did about you. It said that you were one of the one or two muralists that are blind. Muralists, which is a special category of artists because it's not easy. There's, you mentioned before, what the difficulty for someone that's blind. What are the things that impedes you think a lot of people from not doing murals?
Um, I don't know. One of the things with the visually impaired artists, like when I first started, there wasn't really blind painters. It wasn't really a thing. And then since then, I've trained hundreds of visually impaired people to paint, and so and with, but it's all through touch. And when it comes to a mural, it's so hard to be able to touch it all. So be able to have a whole different system where you can make it tactile, but you can't touch it all at once. It just adds a whole nother level of complexity that right now I don't know of any other visually impaired muralist that's doing it. I don't blame them, but
Yeah.
but I'm really looking forward to there being more because it's it's with that form of art you're out in public more, so it's more of a discussion. I think whenever people see that, then they start wondering what people with disabilities can do. So it starts to raise questions for people, and then they hear about the epilepsy, they hear about blindness, they start thinking about raising. Oh, thank you. They start asking questions that they never would have asked, and so anytime that a person with a disability gets in any form of art, I'm super excited about. Like maybe about 18 years ago or so, I was asked to speak at the Met. It was like the first time that I spoke at the Met, and I thought,
At the Met in New York. The Met.
yeah, I worked with them, and I worked with the Guggenheim,
Wow.
but this was the first time I'd ever worked with them, and I thought I'm going to look up artists with disabilities and see like what paintings are here, and then I was and I thought, so I started looking up, and it was easier to find an artist that didn't have a disability or wasn't separated from their community. And art has always been a way for people with disabilities to be able to deal with things. I mean, art is hard, and the only reason people do it is because they want to express themselves. They want to say something, and who has more to say than people with disabilities? Who needs to communicate with the people around them more? I think the biggest difference is that in the past, people with disabilities, there's been a stigma with it. So if you had a disability, you were seen as ill, or you were seen as not as good, or there's a problem with you, or something like that.
Yeah.
And thank goodness, because of courageous people that have been out there that led the way for me, that have led the way for so many different people. They've made it where that stigma's changed, and and I may have epilepsy, I may be blind, but I'm not sick. There's I'm fine. There's
You're
ways to
doing
be able to
great.
deal
You're
with
doing
it.
great, man. You're doing
Yeah,
great. It's
Oh,
nice to
I
enjoy life.
understand that.
yeah.
Uh,
Yes.
But I think I think
You
I
need
think I
to.
think I might have to go soon. I'm sorry.
yeah, yeah.
No,
Very,
no, no, no. That's fine.
yeah.
I'll
Thank
bring
you
up.
very much. Thank you very much.
Oh my gosh, and I'm so sorry. I think yeah.
Well,
I think they were telling me that might I might need to leave.
well, tell them I said thank you, and I want to thank you. I've got posted up here your book and a website where they can look at all your
Oh
paintings
And this can be
and
part of your
illustrations.
resume in the future. This video
well,
will be part of your
thank you,
resume.
thank you so much, Dr. Bennett and Roxanne. I appreciate you guys so much, and in the work that you're doing. It's so important. It's just you having a positive voice out there for people. It's
Well,
Hmm.
incredible.
John, this is the best time in history to be in education because of the tools that we have. We're having amazing tools that we can educate about the way you're doing things, and you have hope, and there's ways of doing things and enjoying life. I mean, and the internet brings that to us, and this is a good important part of history. Okay, we'll let you go.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll have more webcasts. Okay.
thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you. You
Okay.
too. Bye bye.
Okay. I'll
Bye
see you,
bye, guys.
Roxanne. See you, Roxanne.